Hello, this is Andi.
And Weikath of Helloween.
You are listening to Rock FM Moscow.
Your new album, My God-Given Right, is out now. How did the recording process go? What was the inspiration for this record?
The manner of recording changed a little bit because we wanted to have like a more analog feeling, like a little bit of connection to the 80s, because everybody was looking at it like a 30 years of Helloween album. So you have to build bridges to where you come from. We did not do that in the songwriting, but a little bit here and there with the sound. So our producer was this time having a lot of work to bring in all the analog gear onto the island of Tenerife where we recorded, to build that bridge to the analog sound of the 80s. But so far everything else was done in a more or less routine way. We did it and do it since at least 15 years.
So do you think the old army of your fans will appreciate it, or you sound too fresh for them now?
No, I think they will. I mean, it's easy to say that they will because we have like the resonance of the rest of the world so far. So we're proud to say that it got into the top 10 in each and every country all over the world, even top 1 and top 2 and stuff like that. So this was a big surprise. It looks like we have not done anything wrong here.
Helloween often considered the founders of power metal. You yourselves, how do you tag your music? Do you think you play power metal? Maybe it's not.
First there was that term power metal that was like originated, I think, by our then manager. And I had no idea what power metal supposedly is to be. You could have called it like any other kind of metal or whatever, because people like to think in boxes and whatever.
Whatever metal.
Yeah, whatever metal. And so he called it that, and then, people picked it up because, I don't know, maybe, he was proud of having originated that term or whatever, then he did that, and we did that kind of music. It stood for something, and so you needed a term for it somehow. And eventually people chose to pick up that term, power metal, so then it's melodic and intricate and probably fast or whatever. And that's what we probably originated along with bands like Accept, for instance. Because all we wanted to do, we wanted to be a bit more impressive and faster than Rainbow or Accept or what there was. And also we were fans of Queen, for instance, or other rock bands before. And then we just wanted to do it with 2 guitars instead of a Hammond organ and keyboard.
What do you think of modern music, modern bands? Do you like any?
There are modern bands who are kicking my ass, at least. I mean, it's always a matter of taste, as we all know. But mentioning modern bands, I'm probably already way back 10 years ago. So that's my modern bands. Like mentioning stuff like Deftones or Disturbed, bands like that. Korn used to be a modern band, but meanwhile they are already old rabbits. So concerning new bands like from last year or 2 years ago, I could not mention one. But honestly, I did not search. I haven't looked for new bands so far because I'm more or less busy with all my old bands and new bands, and I probably have 40 bands on my iPod and listening to it all over again.
How do you think the modern technologies like internet, downloading changed the face of the metal music?
I think this will change definitely. I see that the majority of bands will sooner or later say no to Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff, because for $9 a month you can actually download 35 millions of tracks. At the end of the day, it's up to the bands to say no. And when all the bands say no, we don't participate, like AC/DC does and Taylor, what's her name? Taylor Swift and you name it. They actually say no to that, and I think they are right. I mean, sooner or later it's up to the bands, and in the moment we are more or less dictated by the record companies what to do and what not to do. But honestly, only the record companies again earn. The bands themselves don't earn nothing. There's this very, very stupid, more or less popular example of a band who had like 4 million streams on Spotify. They received 4,200 euros for 4 million streams. So this is ridiculous. Certainly the record companies, they earn 5 or 6-fold. But the bands are like the last ones to earn, and this has to change and probably will change. I see record companies disappear, and then the bands are on themselves, and maybe then each and every band has the same chance than we used to have during the 80s when you got a record company contract. They are on themselves, they have to promote themselves, and the best will participate in the big race, and the rest is going down to nothing, the way it used to be. Hard but fair. The one who works more is probably up there, the ones who are lazy are down there. Let's wait and see. I don't know.
So what would be your advice for young bands starting over here in Russia or in every country in the world? How should they go ahead? How should they promote their music?
In the moment, no idea. No idea, because if you go for a record company, they actually eat from each and every little bit you earn. Like even from not only from record sales, but even from t-shirt sales, ticket sales, everything. So this is, from beginning on, no future for a band. On the other hand, you have to say, yeah, but what should we do as a band? We want to get out, we want to get promoted and get popular. And this without a record company, hard. So probably my advice would be, nowadays a band has to have an internet specialist, you know, who is 24/7 promoting the band on the internet. So a 6th member for a 5-piece band, so to say. Not on stage, but constantly on the computer. Maybe that's the way.
How did your lifestyle change over the years? Did you start touring, or maybe just a little bit, or you prefer to spend time at home, or you just love to live rock and roll life like in the 80s?
It's always a mixture, huh? Being out there for a month, at least once you want to get back home. Being back home for a month or two, you want to get on rolling.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever you do as a human being. Like as somebody else who's not being in a band or working in a band, you know what you like to do. But you have to work hard in order to get some vacations, and then where do you want to go on vacations? You know? Our life is kind of different. Their life is kind of like that. And it's difficult to relate. And what can you do? What can you say? What changed? Well, I used to go on vacations with my parents when I was 10. And I knew I was in for some sun and some bathing and some, I don't know, like going around the water on some air mattress or whatever. And that's what it used to be. And you don't know what's happening all over your life. It depends on the person and how you want to. If you want to have a passion, I don't know.
But you have to be honest that we actually don't know what changed because we never worked. So we've been like being pushed into that business from early youth on. So fortunately, we never had to learn a profession like butcher or whatever, you know, factory worker or all these hard jobs out there, office or whatever. So actually, he and me were fortunate to actually get off our school, examine and directly into professional music. I had to make a kind of turn concerning military time because the year I was born, you were kind of forced to do that German army, which I actually did not very much enjoy, but you had to. And then I directly went into professional music. So we can't compare. I just see people working, and most of the times I think, okay, I should be very fortunate that I lead the life I do. Not to have to get up early in the morning and like every day, each and every day, the same job for 10 hours and like, yes boss, and you know, I don't want to see myself but I definitely know how hard it must be when I was looking at my parents, for example. So they had like these jobs for decades. So So I'm super fortunate that I don't have to see that for myself.
We probably have too much of variation every day. We also have to wake up at 4 in the morning or at 7 in the morning or whatever, and then catch a flight somewhere. And you can have a little bit of sleep on the plane maybe, and then you go somewhere and you have to make a concert. You know, that's the kind of stress that we have. And it's always a good thing, you know, to have a good health while you're doing that. You know, otherwise you cannot perform well or whatever. Well, you have to perform regardless. How your body is feeling. Yeah, but you have to just go and do it somewhere eventually. It's not for everyone.
So how do you stay in good health?
Well, honestly, a miracle. You just have to go with the flow. I mean, if I have a fever, I probably stand on stage anyway. So there is no paper saying I'm sick, sorry boss, I don't come today. So that's the down part with our job. When you stand up there on stage with 40 fever, like I did way back in time, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later I ended up with heart disturbances because I did not rest but went on with touring. So you should at least not be as stupid as I was. I learned, I mean, I will never do that again. When my body says no, then I'd rather cancel a show.
So you've been around the world. What is the most metal country on earth, in your opinion?
It's hard to say. From the feeling, maybe somewhere in America, but then to the same time you have maniacs over here in Europe. I mean, for example, we're sitting now in Russia. Russians are very, very metal. So it's hard to say. I mean, the masses of die-hard maniacs will probably definitely be in South America. There are lots of countries. Over here in Europe, you probably find 2 or 3 countries of maniacs. But in South America, I think you find much more.